That was a really sensible football tweet at the end of the rest of that stuff there. It really threw us. We don't know quite what to do with those. Paul Harris has said there's only one of him, just in case there's any doubt going on here. And he's also watching EastEnders and listening to the MooCamp, so classifies himself as being multitasking. And said that he thought that that thing we played, that tune, Fade to Grey, was a perfect tune.
Very good.
Which is
very good.
Yes,
well done, Paul.
I think, yes. Round.
His middle name is 80s. Paul 80s Harris.
Paul 80s Harris, it's true, yeah, very much so, yeah.
I want to meet Paul Harris.
No, you don't.
I don't think I know. Do I know who he is?
I think you probably will, but
You
from
will
a
know.
while back. I think I may have... Paul, correct us if I'm wrong here, but I think I've probably met Paul once a long time ago.
Nice
Maybe
guy.
more than that.
Sits just in front of me.
It's disturbing because he seems to sort of like the same sort of stuff that I do on Facebook, and that's just wrong, because I don't like anything sensible on Facebook. Okay, before we go anywhere else...
You're listening to the MooCamp Radio Show on Secklow Sounds, because you have no friends and no life.
Very true.
Hello, I'm Jim Cleland, and every Tuesday between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. on Secklow Sounds Radio, you can hear all things MK. We have local news, sport, weather, traffic and travel, and lots of music. I'll be talking to local people about fitness, health, what's going on in Milton Keynes, our diverse community, local businesses, and much more. Join me, Jim Cleland, for all things MK every Tuesday between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. on Secklow Sounds Radio.
Well, have we got some football to talk about with you? I guess it's probably an idea to start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. Gillingham.
Yeah, no hand.
No hand.
No hand.
Hand as well, yeah.
Ooh, 50% of the current studio
Fantastic
was
representation.
at the match. My God.
It was great. I really enjoyed it. The top day out. It wasn't.
I
Rubbish.
definitely don't agree with that. It was a rubbish.
It was
day.
rubbish.
Yeah.
It was rubbish from start right up until the finish. What are we going to start with? I'll tell you what we're going to start with, because we cannot avoid it.
Go on.
He, and I'm looking at you across here as a fellow goalkeeper,
Oh, yeah.
was appallingly bad.
He was, yeah.
There's no redeeming quality to his performance at all.
Yeah, I do agree. I know that a lot of people were saying we shouldn't really be saying bad things about him, but I think that's the whole point of football. We're supporters. We're meant to have an opinion.
We're meant to say bad things about
We're meant
people.
to say
It's what
bad
we
things,
do.
yeah.
I
think
say bad things about everyone.
I know,
If they were good or bad.
being a first choice goalkeeper myself for a very respectable Saturday morning supporters team, I give him 7 Twilley stars out of 14. And why I use 14, I will tell you another week. It's just something that I decided to
Keep
do.
tuned in next week for that.
Trying to be a bit different. But yeah, no, the game wasn't great. We didn't play very well. I think a lot of us were quite shocked when we saw Keith Andrews' name on the team sheet at the kind of centre-back position. I think, obviously, he's got experience, he's played in a World Cup, etc., but it was a bit of a shock, and obviously the second or third goal was his
When they were
his
lining
mistake.
up, and I said this to you like previously, Brandon, but hello. When they were lining up, my son goes, "Oh look, he's got mate at centre back." He goes, "Nah, they're all just standing about. They'll move into their right positions." I thought, hang on a minute, that was just the craziest decision to make.
Yeah.
I cannot, for the life of me, even now, figure out why he thought that was a good idea. It was the strangest thing.
I heard from pals at B that obviously Hodgson wasn't fit after Monday night playing 60 minutes or whatever. Playing for the full game. But the thing for me was we sent Baldock out on loan 2 days before, and then we've got a defender crisis.
And we brought Flanagan back as well.
Right.
Yeah, and then you got Flanagan on the bench. Why?
He wasn't on the bench.
Was he not?
Okay. There's no suggestion he was injured. The suggestion was he was on the bench because we only ever tend to stick one defender on the bench anyway, and that was.
See again, what's the point? Why not? I mean, personally, my personal opinion on Flanagan is he's a nice lad and he does try, etc. But
He's not good enough, but he's better than Keith Andrews.
he's a defender.
No
he knows the
doubt.
position. I know that last year, those who went to Gillingham, including me,
It's like tennis again, isn't it?
said that it wasn't. I know. Sorry, I seem to have a quite good conversation.
We were there. We can talk about it.
Yeah, we were.
I will say one thing about the criticism that he's received, which we'll go on to the managerial points in a minute. But a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Ian was all right. You've got to blame Keith because it's Keith's fault." A, Keith Andrews is not a central defender, and B, Ian McLaughlin is and gets paid rather handsomely, I should imagine, to be a goalkeeper.
Oh, he is.
He is a goalkeeper. Keith Andrews is not a central defender. So whatever happens, it's his responsibility for being that poor, he was just appallingly bad.
Yeah,
I have to.
It's weird. I mean, it is a tough one because, to be honest, I think when they're having a tough time, they probably need some support.
They
But
didn't get it.
No, on the day
they weren't getting it on Saturday afternoon. I can guarantee you that.
I'll tell you this: I was really disappointed with Robbo's reaction on the radio when he was asked how he'd done. There was just silence, and it's like in that position, I totally get it. You're not happy in any way, shape, or form, but to hang him out to dry like that, I wasn't impressed with. I wasn't happy.
Yeah. He's got to handle it. It's difficult because when you speak to Robbo on like a one-to-one level, he's a proper Scouse bloke. He's just a normal lad, but obviously he's got to keep that level of professionalism. Big word for me.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah, exactly. So he's got to get that level of professionalism. But I don't know. I don't think we can blame the pitch. One thing I do think, though, I don't know how the bloke didn't get sent off when we had our penalty.
Yeah. That was
Last man. There is no way. He didn't even book him. So. I don't understand. If he gives the penalty there, he's going to score, surely. Yeah. Why isn't it a red card?
The suggestion is the ball wasn't really under control. It was going away a little bit.
Maybe, but
was he heading away from goal, or sometimes
it was kind of an angle?
Yeah, it was a little bit of an angle. Yes. The thing for me that I found frustrating when you've got a situation where Ian, he doesn't get match time. There's always going to be a degree of gamble going on when you put him in. To choose that as the point that you experiment with your defence. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it was a bad call, and I think again he didn't put his hands up for it, and I think I lost. Teeny bit of respect for him on that one.
Yeah.
Going back to what you were saying about Robbo, the atmosphere on the scaffolding on Saturday was absolutely everyone sat behind me, in front of me, all around me were just going, oh no, as soon as they seen him lining up.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yeah, exactly
everyone,
the same.
Even before it kicked off, he was on a hiding to nothing, that kid, I got to be honest.
Everyone loves Keith, so it's not a case of people were annoyed at him. It was more a case of we've got Hodgson on the bench, Flanagan's been recalled. To be fair, and I know that Potter is an integral part of the team, but it might even be more sensible because he's definitely a defensive player to look at that. I mean, I originally thought when I saw the list, I thought we might have gone 3 at the back with 2 wingers and had Keith in there as an extra midfielder and let him and Potter play defensively and they slip into the back 4 maybe.
But they didn't.
They definitely did.
Centre back.
In that situation, to not have Jordan Spence in the centre, I just don't get it. I don't understand having him on the pitch when he's a central defender for a start. We know he's strong there, we know he can play there. And we've got any number of people who could have slotted in at right back.
He was
and
another guy that was getting absolute pelters from everyone, wasn't he? But in his defence, I'm just playing devil's advocate here, but in his defence, I would say that the reason he was so bad was because he was constantly looking across to see what Andrews was doing, constantly running into the middle to cover for him. Hence, one of their goals. Old matey came down.
Yeah, the whole.
And everyone's going, ham, look at him. Everyone was, wasn't it?
Yeah, the whole stand.
Because he was petrified of what Keith was going to do.
Yeah, definitely. And
he had a poor game. You can't.
Yeah,
he did have a bad game.
I don't think anyone had necessarily a great game, but I think with that, and that probably goes back to playing 3 at the back, because if Spence is meant to be in a position, the team drop deeper anyway, and the winger picks him up, and that goal doesn't happen.
But he couldn't, because he constantly was worried. And speaking about people that were constantly, worrying, what about Anthony Kay, just point blank refusing to pass back to McLaughlin? He just wouldn't do it.
That one where he was coming right towards the fans. He was near the 6-yard box, and if Dave's in goal, he passes it. Dave clears it, and away he goes. And he looked at him, and you could almost tell him, no, I don't think so. And he was messing around. And
wasn't he?
Yeah.
He nearly got caught in possession. Like you say,
on
the 6-yard line, you're thinking, flipping heck, mate. Either hoof it away or pass it back, but he would not pass it back to him, would he? He just wouldn't do it. It was actually quite amusing, really.
It was.
Just very quickly, I've had a Facebook post here that says, a big welcome back to Gers. The show was almost lost without him last week. The only saving grace was the Scott McGregor inclusion. And that's from Scott McGregor. Self-publicists are us.
Could I just add that I've had one as well? We had that message earlier on about multitasking. Someone managed to multitask. They're asking if they can have a hashtag MooCamp Live in the top part of the radio.
In the top right corner. Yeah, definitely. Hashtag MooCamp Live. Yes. This is the bit that unfortunately is unscripted.
Which is why it's funny.
Someone wrote on this thing here, the dog bleep. What's all that about?
That was... first of all, I'm experimenting with using the word bleep everywhere instead of swear words. Yeah. But there seems to be a lot of people very concerned about the amount of dog bleep that was... around the Gillingham area.
I never noticed that.
Dog mess, you mean?
That's another way of putting it.
Okay,
yes,
fair enough.
not quite as pleasant as mine.
It was
But
salubrious a football ground's ever been at. I can see that.
You were saying earlier the alleyway scared me more than anything. You turn left and there's an alleyway and you think, my God, what's going to happen here?
having gone down those alleyways on evening matches and things, it's a
The
bit
avenues
unnerving.
at the alley.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well.
That's a reference here for a slightly older gentleman like myself. 1960s.
Okay. Generally, disappointing day at the office, I think.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was because we were sat on a load of scaffolding and planks, but the atmosphere was zero from us, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Do you know what? I've always said this. We struggle without a drum. I don't know why, but we were. I think it was last week we were talking about this, where we say we are proper, but it's where we say we can't keep a beat and things go too fast and things like that. Also, I think not having a roof. If you saw the Gillingham fans, they didn't have a mass amount of people singing at all times, but you could hear it because of the acoustics. But we were singing into the wind, and I think the steward down to the left of us might have heard us, but that was about it.
Well, apart from the football, I can honestly say I had a pretty good day. So yeah, it was
And
all
great
right.
pies. We need to mention that.
Pies,
Great
yes.
pies.
Pastry update.
Yeah, pastry is amazing.
I just got another one here. It just says, "Welcome back, Gers. You were missed last week. It was a show like the scene out of National Lampoon's European Vacation, where the Griswold family went around the roundabout over and over and over again and were completely lost."
Ah, it's good to know people like me.
I'm completely lost with that reference.
That's
but-
from Scat McGruger. Okay, we need to move on because we haven't got any time left in the show. Thank you for that, gentlemen. Yes, pleasure.
Hi, blessings to each and every one of you. Join me, Darren Hoy, with the Reggae Takeover Show for 2 hours of the finest reggae vibes, each and every Wednesday, 9 through to 11 p.m, here on Seclo Sounds. Don't miss out on your weekly Sunshine Fix, featuring roots, rude boy, dub, lovers rock, ska, one drop, and much, much more. So go on, give your sound system a treat. Join me, wind down low, and skank the night away. One love. That's Wednesdays, 9 through to 11 p.m, live on Seclo Sounds.
Well, that was smashing. Cheers for that. Bloody siren gets on my nerves, I can't be honest. Anyway, coming up in the next section of the show, we'll be hearing what the rest of the footballing world has to say about us. We'll get our motorboards on and bring you enlightenment from the darker parts of society, and we'll hear more from you regarding roundabouts and questions. We'll also be chatting about last night's trip to Colchester, so if you were thinking about taking the dog, going for a walk in the rain.
It doesn't say dog anywhere near that.
Maybe I've just put dog in.
I think you have.
Maybe I've also have, no. Anyway, I'll catch up with your correspondence this night. It'll be the best time. Let the dog in, it's raining.
Great one, thank you. This just in, following Robbo's decision to experiment and live in the land outside of normal behaviour, others within the club have begun to follow his lead. Club Business Supremo Andrew, call me Andy Cullen, this morning announced that he was handing over the selection of Big Days Out to Kitman, a big friend of the MooCamp Radio Show, Tony, I've got an assistant Hawkins, who was in turn handing him over to some bloke he met in the pub. Explaining their decision from adjacent gutters in the theatre district in the early hours of Sunday morning, Tony and Andrew shouted, "Shall we do the cones thing? We like doing the cones thing." More on this once we've established who we're going to get to read out the This Just In from here on in. Ooh, I should have this ready. I have. Ha ha. Yeah, go.
Cool.
Go.
So, texts and tweets. Michael from Bletchley says that he's not interested in anything that anybody has to say about it. He knows his own mind, and anyone who disagrees with him is an idiot. An anonymous text has come in, so we're going to pretend that it's come from Paul from Tinker's Bridge, and he simply says, "I'd like to see Young Alby naked," which we may be able to arrange. I don't know if we find that kind of service. Louise from Wolverton says, "Bringing the boy to the Posh match. First game, looking forward to it." Darren from Peterborough says, "Looking forward to our annual cup final. Not been confident of many results of late, but we'll win this one." I've had a text in, actually, from Alexander Valentine from Harrow, who works for me. So thanks for listening, Alex. He's never been to a Dons game. He was meant to come to the Manchester United game.
Manchester United?
I think we won that.
When was that?
Yeah, 4-0, something like that, wasn't it?
29 minutes.
29 minutes.
Yeah.
But, he gave up his ticket because he had to go to dinner with his sister.
I didn't miss much. What was the score anyway?
What's she like?
It was 4-0, I think.
I've never met his sister. And a final one.
If you're his sister, please get in touch now. We'd like to know.
Send your picture.
Was it worth it?
Final one from CSI Bletchley, which I didn't know we had a CSI in Bletchley. We need a ladies' toilet of the week on the radio show.